second.
Hold on. I'm going to start it off. Hold on. Let me see. Got it.
If you live, baby.
What?
That's how you feeling today? That's how you
Feel like what the music feel like. You know what I mean? So save the streets.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? This never came about. That's how I feel. It never came about, but it was always there.
It's that Ventures Hove right here.
That's how we starting it off.
So we starting, man. Well, we back
So we
for
starting
another episode, man. Off the Rip podcast. How you feeling today, Scrap?
Feeling great. How you feeling? How you feeling?
I'm great, man. Everything good on my end, man. Highly blessed and favorite, man. That's how we carrying it. But, man, we're going to jump right into it, man. Today's episode, we're going to be discussing the Las Vegas Aces and Ocean's 11, the movie, and just talking about the comparisons of both Ocean's 11 and the Las Vegas Aces, and just different similarities they have, man. And Ocean's 11, man, I'll let you talk about that, going to that. I know that's one of your favorite joints right there, that movie.
Let me say this. It was a star-studded cast. I mean, from the main actors to the supporting actors to even, just where they filmed the movie at. So the correlation is definitely the Las Vegas Aces, Ocean's 11, filmed in Vegas. It was just a perfect analogy to what we do as far as, as podcasters. So with George Clooney being kind of like the focal point, the actor, and definitely Brad Pitt, but then it's also having Asia Wilson and Candace Parker came out. I know she's a part of that regime too, and there's a couple other players I didn't mention yet. But they, just like I said, the cast, it's all about your supporting cast. And everybody from the team to the actors played their part. You know what I'm saying? Ocean's 11 went three movies in. Aces won back-to-back championships, but it's still, when you look at it from a film standpoint, a sports standpoint, it's hard to duplicate.
It's funny you said Flash, right? Vegas, Las Vegas Aces, they played with a certain Flash, but Agent Wilson being the leader of their team, and they having a star-headed coach. I forgot the woman's name, but she's the coach of San Antonio Spurs. She's a great coach, though.
Yep. She coached. Yep. She's still coaching, right?
Just the great supporting cast, and you talking about just that flash and confidence they play with. They kind of revolutionized WNBA basketball in a sense, with more in your face, coming down one-on-one basketball, getting straight to it. And what do you think about, just the comparison, just the flash and confidence that both of these, franchises, portray, whether that's on the screen or even on the court for the Aces?
I'm gonna be honest with the audience. I wasn't really following the Aces. I know they won back-to-back championships. I know coming into that season, it was 22 years in existence of the WNBA. However, it was definitely flash confidence, from their standpoint, and then also with the movie with Brad Pitt and George Clooney kind of working together, really working together. Those brilliant minds on the screen to set the reinsurance. I'm gonna give you an example. Brad Pitt told what's my guy name that played the boss in the movie on the other side of the film with the casino. It wasn't what's his name? Give me his name. The guy that played in the movie, that guy that owned the casino. I just happened to forget his name. So
talking about Andy, right? Is his name Terry Benedict?
Yeah, but what's his real name?
His real name is Andy Garcia.
All right, there you go. Brad Pitt told Andy Garcia, "We're gonna walk out the casino with your money." I'm quite sure
right
the
to
Aces
his face.
had
I remember that. Yeah,
I'm quite sure the Aces had that same confidence when they started the season in 2022. We're gonna walk out of here with that finals championship. We're gonna walk out of here with it. So it's like you said, the confidence was there already. It had to start in the beginning. The mentality had to start in the beginning. We're gonna do it. It's you can't get to the playoffs or get to that point in the movie where you I think I could do this. No, you have to already know that in the beginning of the season, what they call in sports the preseason. You got to already know we're gonna win.
Yeah, and it's funny you said that, man. You only as good as the people you surround yourself, whether that's in any industry, right? So with the Aces, not only they had Agent Wilson, you got Chelsea Gray, Kelsey Plum, Jackie Young, some of their dominant players and during their tenure. And then, like you said, not only George Clooney in Ocean's 11, but Brad Pitt, Andy Garcia, star-studded cast. Let's just speak let's even
Don
elaborate.
Cheadle, right? Come on,
Cheeto,
Don
yeah.
Cheadle. Let's
Forgot about
Bernie
Don
Mac,
Cheadle. Can't forget about the OG and the
Bernie
legend,
Mac.
Bernie Mac's in there. So it's like it's a saying in sports, iron sharpen iron. But do you think iron sharpen iron even in film and production as well, when you got some of the best actors acting alongside each other?
We forget the female co-star in there. Let's not forget about the female
Oh, you talking
co-star
about
in
Julia
Ocean.
Roberts? Yeah, for
Come
sure.
on,
She's
all
a
right.
legend.
So
Yeah.
so let's not forget about it. You always need a woman in the equation. So
Mm-hmm.
it was perfect. I mean, the WNBA, predominantly women, whether they play, of course we don't play, but they've been coaching, but in that case, you need some men. And then, on the opposite side, with the acting of a star-studded heavy hitter male cast, but then you got Julia Roberts in the fold, who kind of gives it that femininity to the whole equation. So you always need a duality in anything you do in life.
And now we're gonna move on to that. Leads us to our next point: the execution under pressure. How both of these, whether the Aces winning back-to-back championships, and in the movie Ocean 11, them pulling off one of the biggest heists. Let's talk about the execution of under pressure and how that applies for both of these organizations and products.
Well, let's just say in that season, because that was the first year that they won they won in it as far as the organization. So it had to be a lot of pressure to pull that off to win the first, WNBA finals for their organization. That's a hard task. Like, it's hard enough to be a dynasty. You got to get the first one. You got to you even got to break you got to, break the ice. I don't want to say you break the ice, but you really got to be laser focused on the first championships. Then you go into the other championships and getting, prepared mentally to do that. And like the movie, Ocean 11 could have never been a success, but it was. You know what I mean? Because it brought something that was, I don't want to say that was so much new to the movie business, but it was new.
It was something fresh. It was something different. It was a heist movie, but it took place in a casino. Was it like a had a little bit comedy, but it was still a drama in a sense, but it had comedic tone to it. So it was something fresh and original that I think the industry needed at the time when it came out, and that's why it became a huge hit, which led to multiple sequels with the movie. But even talk about how Vegas is incorporated in with the way the way the Aces play, even in the film. Like Vegas is all about flash, show me now, like the showmanship aspect of it. Talk about how that the Aces have the showmanship aspect of it, along with Ocean's 11, a movie.
Well, you have players on the team that's unselfish. They don't, and they share the basketball. And I'm not from Vegas. I've been out.
Well, we've been to Vegas a few times. So
yeah,
they definitely represent the city, like
right. So that's what it is. Like, Vegas is not naturally considered a sports town. So you gotta set a trend. You got not a trend. You gotta set a bar, and that's what they was able to do. From doing that, from their first championship to the next one, and probably in contention to win another one this year. You know what I'm saying? Because they have the best player in the NBA playing on their team.
AJ Wilson, yeah.
And at the time, George Clooney, he was a great actor. You know what I'm saying? You could arguably say at some point, he could have, been in conversation with that.
And Julia Roberts was one of the greatest female actors
she
at that
comes
time.
before. She's in a
class of her own, like Julia Roberts, like Viola Davis. They like in that GOAT status for female actress. So just like with them two, having them two figureheads actually leading the film, it's like definitely special, because a lot of times with two people of that magnitude, especially in the late 90s, early 2000s, actors could sometimes be egotistical, but for them both sharing the floor with each other, the set with each other, that says a lot about their character, and said about that they all about the art and they all about the work.
Well, that speaks to the director. You should know a lot about that. That speaks to the director that can get all those
environment.
Egos, get all those egos together to come up with a project that that's gonna be not just be around, but that can really resonate years after it comes out.
That's true. That's definitely true. shout out to Steven. I think his name is Steven Soderbergh. That's who directed the Ocean's 11. So
Okay, all right.
So capping it off, man, like I said, the Aces and Ocean's 11, they both represent Vegas in an authentic way. They both demonstrate showmanship. They both demonstrate getting in your own way. And they just demonstrate just being, disruptors in their respective field. And that's why we had to do the analysis with both of them, because there's definitely a lot of underlying similarities between both of them. But man, we're moving along, man, to our Go Getta segment, man. So this Go Getta segment is very, very special, man. We're gonna be talking about Debbie Allen, the legend, the choreographer, the director, the producer, the actress, and we're gonna be talking about Serena Williams and what makes both of them go-getters, what makes both of them outliers in their respective fields. Debbie Allen broke down barriers in the entertainment industry, particularly in dance and choreography, at a time where opportunities for Black women were limited. She fought to be accepted at the Houston Ballet Academy, despite their initial rejection based on her race, and she later became a powerhouse on Broadway, television, and film. Serena Williams revolutionized the sport of tennis, bringing power, athleticism, and unapologetic confidence to a sport where Black women were historically underrepresented. She won 23 Grand Slam titles, becoming the most dominant player in modern history. So we're going to jump right into it, man. Longevity and reinvention. How both of these, Serena Williams and Debbie Allen represent longevity and reinvention in their own respective way, Scrap?
No disrespect to the first person you said.
Yeah.
I don't know too much about her. You kind of, you sprung that upon me. Nothing, no pun intended, but I, I don't want to keep saying it anymore. I already know it's brilliant. I already know it's brilliant what you're talking. I already know she was brilliant based on what you had shared with me. Now, let me just say this. I don't want to even speak about it because I'm not prepared to speak about it right now. But I want to say this about Serena. Man, what can I say? She's been brilliant since she started playing. From what I knew. I wasn't there in the beginning, but just the fact that from how many Wimbledons she won, how long she was able to endure in the sport where she wasn't probably always, somebody that they wanted to see at that part. Not that part, but to see somebody at that pinnacle. Because again, it's a sport predominantly dominated by Caucasians. And the fact that she came in there and kicked a lot of ass for a lot of years, I don't even think our culture and the community really embraces that in the sense of like, she really went into a sport where there's no scholarships to it a lot. She went in there and played at the highest level and won. You know what I'm saying? And really won at the highest level. I'm quite sure her count, who else are we talking about? Which Debbie Williams did the same thing at a different time. I gotta say this
Debbie
to both
Williams
of them.
was her transition was just crazy, like from being an dancer,
I want to say this about both
actress.
of them.
Then now she was like a recurring director on different world, Grey's Anatomy. So she did it step by step, which they both did. But I think Serena just had more instant success than what Debbie Allen had.
But but both of their success plays out to where we at right now. This is why you and me able to do this, because they was trailblazers in every which way. So because they took chances, and they took chances. It was a big chance to do what they did because it was it wasn't the norm for a woman to do what they were doing, going into the respective fields that they did. It wasn't what it something that was accepted from probably even amongst their family and even just the whole community. Because I say that because it wasn't like I can remember Serena Williams playing tennis. She plays on ESPN most of the time, right? And their games, in the tennis games, they come different times. Tennis is played in different continents, so the games might be over there it's daytime, but over here it's 7 in the morning. Who's going to get up and watch a Serena Williams tennis match? You'll hear about the highlights if she wins and all that, but you're not going to sit there and watch the whole tennis match. And I'm quite sure the same thing was being said with, the other, what's her name?
Debbie Allen.
Debbie Allen. What she was doing at the time with no TV really in every household.
And think about it, she did it with pre-social media, so you really had to knock on production companies' doors back in the day. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it was really a different time, bro. Really a different time.
I definitely believe that. Like I said, I think both of them. No, I know both of them are trailblazers in every which way because you put me on to who Debbie Williams is, and now it's my duty.
Debbie Allen.
Debbie Allen. I'm sorry, it's my job to do the research and find out more about her. But Serena Williams, I definitely feel like, yeah, that's a familiar name for me as just an individual that followed different sports. Like I'm not a big fan of tennis, but I definitely don't
But
mind
she made
watching
us a
tennis.
fan of tennis because coming from Compton, coming from nothing, and seeing her dad, Richard Williams, how he was LeVar Ball before LeVar Ball, how he invested in all his daughters and his children, and he demanded the best out of him. He demanded excellence from him. He set that standard of excellence with Serena, and that went on to her younger sister, which is Venus, if I'm not mistaken, right? That wound up winning a lot of Grand Slam totals as well. So definitely, man, shout out to them. But let's move on to the next point. We talk about mentorship and creating opportunities for others. Debbie Allen founded the Debbie Allen Dance Academy, provide young dancers, especially Black and minority dancers, with opportunities they might not otherwise receive. In Serena's case, she's been a fierce advocate for young athletes, particularly in women's sports. She invested in women-led business supporting emerging tennis players and worked to create better access and opportunities for the next generation through her Serena Williams Foundation. So the idea of paying it forward, I think that's important. A lot of times, our people, when we get to a place of success, we never go back and find the next people, get the next people opportunities and resources. Let's just talk about that and how both of these women really demonstrate that, of not just saying it, but actually doing the work and giving the people that's behind them opportunity.
That's the key. You said a key point. Like, you have to be able to do that. Like, you have to be able to like really look in within yourself and understand, like, it's always, help that you see sometimes from people that you typically don't even know. And with that being said, you always want to look and think about, how did you get to that point where you can give back? You definitely want to give back, because you don't know what kid is really looking at you and thinking about, like, I want to be you. You know what I'm saying? I really want to be you. And because I know people that play professional sports and always kind of went with the obvious, which was, I'm going to get myself out the hood, get my family out the hood.
It was me. But then once you get your folks out, you're not going to find the next you.
And that's what
we suffer from that.
It should always be predicated based on, like, like giving back, reaching out. And you don't even have to identify who the next person is, but just giving a platform or giving a space where the kids can have an opportunity to even give it a shot. Because I mean, hey, listen, it might not be nobody never better than you coming from where you come from. That don't mean somebody can't get to where you went, though. So it's like, yeah, definitely. Like,
and it's our duty, because to whom much is given, much required. So when God bless you with success, when He bless you to be in a great place financially, we got to give back, man. And we got to challenge our people doing a better job of that, and not gatekeeping with information, not gatekeeping with resources, and not wanting to be the only Black person in the room. We got to get past all those ways, and sometimes them ways could hold us back as a whole. And I commend both of these ladies for not only just talking it, but actually doing the work and giving back, whether it's through their foundation, in Debbie Allen's case, through her dance academy. I think that's major. Our last point with these unbelievable women: legacy and lasting impact. Both of these women left a real lasting impact in their respective career. What do you think just young women in general, or young women of color, could learn from both of their career paths?
I don't like to use the word color.
Young Black women.
Yeah. I don't even use the word color.
Like young Black women could learn from, like I said, Debbie Allen, coming from Houston, Texas.
They gotta first sit down and look at themselves. You gotta look at themselves, and then they gotta read. And then you gotta ask questions. And to ask the questions, I mean, the questions don't always come with a video instruction. Like how they so
Mm-hmm.
used to something now where they could get on their phone and look at a YouTube. No, a lot of this stuff is going to be, a lot of stuff is going to be in conversation.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a formal conversation. It's going to be in books, whatever books it is of them. But just really just sitting back, when when you laying in your bed, you sitting there and you about to go to sleep and you start thinking like, and this is imagination, but it's like, what did they go through to get there? Like, just think
Mm-hmm.
about that for a second. But how do you think about that? You think about that, I'm gonna get your first pointer. You watch movies from that time
Mm-hmm.
to kind of see ideally what was going on in that time, whether it was Serena Williams or whether it was Debbie Allen.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the decade. Look at the
Mm-hmm.
decade they was doing what they was doing, or the decades. Watch movies of that time, because that's what we on right now.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about film and movie. So because the podcast is based on film and movies, film and sports. Watch a film. Look at the sports of that era, of that decade, and see what was going on. And then you can have a better understanding without even talking to an elder from that time. Because everybody don't have access to talk to an elder like myself or you. They don't have a chance to talk to people from that time. So if you don't do anything, look at the films that was coming out in that decade and look at the athletes that was coming out in that decade. And then you can have a better understanding. Look at the artists that was coming out in that decade, because they all come in a decade. And then you
Mm-hmm.
get, and then
And
you can
that's funny
kind of
you
go
said
from
it.
there.
So I think Debbie Allen got on like late 70s, early 80s.
So look at the
That was
music.
like
Pay
that
attention.
was
Hold
yeah, that
on.
was like the soul music and
So
Patti
pay
LaBelle to like
pay
Anita
attention to
Baker,
the music.
the
Pay
young Whitney
attention to the
Houston.
movies. The movies and the music of every decade is going to tell you what's going on with the
It's
people.
synonymous to what was going on during that era. You're 100% right.
Absolutely right.
And then Serena Williams grew up in Compton, like late 80s, early 90s, when gang banging and gang culture was at its highest peak. So, they had to go through that, and being able to clean off a dirty tennis court in Compton and being able to practice, and, her dad just being so stern and demanding in a good way for them, to reach their ultimate dream of being professional tennis players. So, I think it's a lot, like you said, that, young women, just all of us can learn from just their stories, their journeys, and what makes them outliers is, like we said, man, is just doing your own way. And when you do it your own way and you pure about it and you authentic about it, you're going to find success. And that's what makes people outliers, disruptors, and what we like to call in this segment, go-getters. So moving along, man, we're going to be going to our rapid fire. Let's talk about them Eagles, man. The Eagles, man. How we feeling, Scrap?
Say this to the audience and to our fans and all our everybody that's going to come along and go with us on this journey. There's a connection now with Philly and LA.
What's that connection?
More so LA. Let me say that. LA, because I know Compton is outside of LA, because you schooled me on that. The connection is what? Kendrick Lamar and Jalen Hurts versus Drake and Patrick Mahomes.
Why is that? Why is that
Yeah,
comparison?
hey,
You gotta
listen,
explain that. The
wise.
audience need to hear
It's
that.
no wise that. It is what it is.
Why that is it the underdog versus David Goliath?
I said it is.
If it's David Goliath,
because Jalen Hurts played against Patrick Mahomes and Kendrick Lamar performed and Drake didn't perform or didn't even it wasn't nothing. It was just what I said. If you talk the most, but popularity is what people go with on the mainstream. So Drake is the bigger artist, Patrick Mahomes the bigger star. And look what happened. Kendrick showed out, biggest performance thus far, Super Bowl. And Jalen Hurts, MVP, Super Bowl. Boy, love it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah,
I see the similarities. I see where you're going.
You ain't gotta see it. I see it.
They both underdogs in their respective way. They definitely both underdogs, and Kendrick, that was an awesome performance.
Where we come from.
Yeah, but I'm just talking about mainstream on the macro level.
Yeah, but I never,
you don't conform to that. You don't conform to that mentality. Yeah.
I never thought either one of the light skinned dudes was even that.
Yeah. I mean, Patrick Mahomes is definitely that. I mean, he just had a horrible game.
That were referees on his side. So we bullied them guys.
No, we definitely, and talk about how this team just really represent Philly.
They bullied the Kansas City Chiefs.
Like we're Brody in that. We need that. Like
Because
Jalen
listen what I'm
Carter was a
saying.
monster.
Listen
Of
what I'm
course,
saying. It
Jalen
started
Hurts, AJ Brown.
listen what I'm saying. It started with the coaching.
Yeah, Nick Sirianni, man.
It
Shout out to the
started with the
coach of the
coaching.
year.
So he took in a Philly
Mentality.
mentality.
Yeah.
You would think he from South Philly.
He looked like he from South Philly. He
He
act
like
like
him
he
from the
from
pig.
South Philly.
He
Like I
like him
went
from
to
the
Newman
pig.
with him. One
He
of them
definitely
dudes
like
I
him from
went
the
to
pig.
Newman
Like him
Goretti
from
with.
people like one of them little
He from
blocks off of like 8th Street. You know what I'm
Oregon,
saying?
or 8th and Packard,
Exactly.
somewhere down there.
Listen, I meet too many people from Kansas City in my
Mm-hmm.
lifetime. So I mean, and not the players from Kansas City, but who cares about Kansas City? We from Philly. You know what I'm saying? What that rap be about? Like, so like I said, we bullied them jokers, and we're gonna do it again next year. Just to let
Yeah,
y'all
we
know.
definitely gonna run it back. And
So
let's
I don't even want to even talk about. I don't even want to think nothing about that. Like
yeah.
they good, they definitely good. Andy Reid, all that. But guess what? Y'all beat us 2 years ago by a touchdown, and we just waited, and we waited, and we got it together, and we got the best player in the NFL on our team, Saquon Barkley, the best player, not the MVP, but the best player in the league.
Yeah, I agree.
Not Josh Kelly, not Lamar Jackson.
Josh
Saquon Barkley,
Allen,
the
man.
best player.
Yeah.
He's the best player in the NFL.
Yeah, I agree. And going back to Jalen Hurts, man, he had a monster game, 2 touchdowns, and threw for over 221 yards.
Yeah.
I think it's
That
time
was
for
good.
people to start putting Jalen Hurts in the top 5 quarterback conversation. He has to
will
be.
they? But will they?
I don't know, but it's just men lie,
So it goes
women
back.
lie, numbers don't.
There it goes. It goes back to that Philly shit. It goes back to right to that. It goes back to like, you know what I'm saying? And it goes back to why we always have a grit to us.
That chip on our shoulder.
That's
we
why.
don't get the respect we deserve.
We
he embraced that too, though. He
broadcasters.
figured that
We don't need the
philosophy.
media. We don't need nobody on ESPN First Take,
Yeah.
any of those shows, any other podcasts. We don't need nothing. We know what we're working with. We did something that was never done. We stopped a dynasty from taking place.
Yeah.
We stopped an engagement from taking place. Which only lets me know that relationship is fake. Because if had they won, he would have proposed to her. So I don't buy their relationship. So I don't really care about all they little in between shit. We did what we were supposed to do. We smacked the shit out of them in front of the whole country.
The whole world was watching.
And Kendrick Lamar continues to make Drake look like a fucking nut. A fucking nut. Because he's a fucking nut. Fucking. Feed him beans.
Well, you heard it here first. But no, shout out to the Philadelphia Eagles, man. Like I said, man, great win. Representing Philly in the authentic way. And, we're excited for next season. Celebrate the parade Friday, but take the all season to yourself in August, late July, August. We got to get back to work because we're going for that repeat.
Well, remember, like I said, I want everybody to know,
Philly
and Compton got a connection now, baby.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kendrick.
Yeah.
We got a connection now. It's a connection.
Let's move on to our next point. Jimmy Butler, the Jimmy Butler trade to the Warriors. How we feeling about that? Does that make the Warriors better?
Definitely makes them better. I don't know how far they're going to deep in the playoffs, but I mean, you got a superstar with Steph Curry, and you got a guy that's
say Jimmy's a superstar. I put him like
I didn't say. I said Steph Curry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, Steph Curry superstar.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is Jimmy, he don't have to be a superstar. He can
just coexist. Yeah, in the playoffs, he's going to even come alive and turn it up a notch. But I just find it funny, like the shenanigans these players do to get out their situations. Do you think that that's a professional manner or approach these players are going about when they want to be traded, or just is it madness to their method just to get out of their current situations?
I think it's madness to the method. I think everybody, because everybody don't get that VIP treatment that Jimmy Butler got, even though he went against an old school guy like Pat Riley.
A lot of people don't come out glorious against Pat Riley.
So Jimmy stayed confident, and he got what he wanted. And if that's what he wanted, then I respect that because he earned his bones. I mean, even without never winning a championship, he earned his spot in the league where he like, look, man, this not a good fit for me. I don't recommend it to other players, but he did what he did.
And it worked in his favor, but it don't always work that way. So I hope players.
No, it don't work that way. And you got to think about the future players that come behind you.
Yeah. I don't know if that's the best route, but it works for him. Everything what works for you, man, what works for the next man might not work for you.
Correct.
But no, I think that makes them playoff contenders in the West, and possibly can make it to the Western Conference Finals, adding Jimmy Butler to that roster with more depth and just that more leadership that they need, man, just more veteran leadership they need. All right, now we're talking about our next topic, the NBA owners taking their power back. What did that Luka trade signify, man? Like, you trade a superstar who goes to who makes 5 all NBA first teams, who've been to 2 Western Conference Finals, and then previous year won the scoring championship and lead his team to the finals, and he gets traded without being informed. What message is that sending to the NBA and the players right now?
Well, the owners are basically, like, you know, I said this in the last segment, the owners will control the NBA, because the owners dictate who the NBA commissioner is.
Yeah.
So when you have those two entities going on, even with the NBA players union, NBA players that's bigger than, you know, they big. They got they got the endorsements. They have the brand face, they face card.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't exclude an NBA owner like the Dallas Mavericks, who says to the, you know, basically to our organization or to the city of Dallas that she wants to put a casino inside the new arena. And if they don't, we're going to take the team to Vegas.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So this is a little in-between stuff where it's like, who? Trade them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Owners are different now. This is not your traditional, old school, you know, Caucasian man at the front, at the forehead. The majority owner is a woman, a Jewish woman at that. So, it's different. It's just different now. The owners are different. They look different. They talk different, but they got money.
Yeah.
You know, most of them coming in collective groups, but they got money.
Yeah.
So, it's just a different ball game now. It's not like every owner doesn't look like Jerry Jones.
Do you think it shook up a lot of the stars in the league? Like,
absolutely.
Like when I seen KD, like, what, Luka got traded? Like, everybody.
Because he's the future.
Yeah.
KD's not the future. LeBron's not the future.
Yeah.
Luka is. He's 25. I didn't even know he was that young.
That's what I'm saying. And I think the Lakers in a good situation. I don't know if they're gonna go far this year, but you got Luka, and if you could sign some good pieces this offseason, whether that's another wing and a real bona fide big, you could be a real contender to make it out the West the following year with having Luka, and then even still LeBron, the way he's playing at the level he's playing, they can make it out the West. They add another piece or so. So, all right, we got to talk about Luka's debut last night. Luka, first game, they blew out the Jazz, of course. He had 14 points, 5 assists, and 4 rebounds. And, you know, he played some with Bron, and I noticed that J.J. Redick kind of staggered them a lot of having them playing in different units, trying out a bunch of things, them playing together, playing in different units. How you think this thing's going to work out with him and Bron? How would this unravel being ball-dominant players? Do we see Bron going off the ball, or do we see Bron really deferring to Luka? Like, how do you envision this season, rest of the season playing out?
I didn't watch the game, only watched the highlights. They got two guys that can do more than score. They both can pass. They see the floor from the other side of the court, which makes it dangerous for any opponent. So because they size, you know what I'm saying, and because they both can dribble the ball and they can score on the perimeter, it's going to be kind of difficult for any team to stick them. Now the question that comes to me is, how much do they want to play defense? Because the scoring going to be brilliant. It's just going to be brilliant. Because like you said, you could scheme them, you could do certain things, you could play, you could take one off and put one on the bench, and then you can put them at the same time. But how much defense are they willing to play? And to me, that's what's going to come down to, the defense. So in other words, as other people said today, matchups, I don't want to regurgitate that. But I also want to say, like, how much defense does them guys want to play? Luka don't play defense.
Yeah.
So he's at a point now where he can learn from somebody that's a proven champion.
And LeBron will teach him, like, how to get in proper shape and hold him
accountable. Yeah, but all that, no, I don't care about that. Is he going to embrace that? Forget what LeBron did already. That's good. Is Luka going to embrace that? Because remember, Luka didn't need LeBron to go wherever his career was going to go. He was going to be fine without LeBron. This was just more like a situational thing where nobody
it
saw
just
it
happened.
coming.
It's a coincidence. Nobody saw it coming. Yeah.
So is he going to embrace it? Because if he would have stayed at, because he wanted to stay at Dallas, he was going to be a Hall of Famer at Dallas. Just off that.
He's still going to be a Hall of Famer though. Ain't nothing changed. He's still going to be a Hall of Famer.
No, what I'm saying is,
if he would stay with Dallas, he still would have been. He still was going to be a Luka.
It wasn't like he wanted. He didn't never come out and say he wanted to play with LeBron. LeBron said that about him. So what I'm saying is, they're together now. Is Luka going to say, "I'm going to do this and do that"? We can't say that. Nobody can say that.
That's true. All right, let's move on to our next point. That's it for our rapid fire, man. All right, well, now we're going to our final segment of the show. We're going to be talking about the flick of the week, or the most hot TV show that's out right now. I don't know if you've seen this show, Scrap, but it's called Paradise. It's streaming on Hulu. I think about 4 or 5 episodes is out right now. And it's about a Secret Service agent named Xavier Collins, played by Sterling K. Brown, investigates the murder of his former president. This series is set in an underground bunker in Colorado that's been designed to look like a suburban town. So the series really explores the complicated relationship with Agent Collins and the President Bradford. These guys they know each other on a real personal level, and in their relationship, I don't want to give it away what spoiled their friendship, but Agent Collins become not too fond of President Bradford, and after the sudden murder of President Bradford, it leaves the whole town in a frenzy. So everybody's just trying to figure out how he got murdered, who was behind it, what Secret Service agents was on duty at that time. And I really like the show. The show is a really, really good show, man. It has like a little similarities to like Scandal with Kerry Washington. Was that Scandal Kerry Washington, right, in DC? That show, right? Yeah. It has a lot of like similarities to that. And my favorite character on the show is Agent Billy Pace. That's one of Agent Collins, one of his co-workers. I just love this dude character, man, because he come from like a really unstable adolescence. Dude killed his uncle, then he wound up serving time, and he wound up getting sought out by the agency when he got released from prison, and he wound up becoming one of their sharpshooters. But the thing I love about his character, he has this like dark trauma, this dark side about him, but he also have this like sense of morality in him, the way he treats Agent Collins' kids, the way he loves his girlfriend. So I just really love that dynamic and that duality that character have in this TV show. And like I said, it's only 5 episodes. I think the 5th episode just came out today. It's a great show. It's one of the shows that they talk about online. So I definitely recommend everybody check it out. Paradise on Hulu. I think it come out every Tuesday. Do you have any questions about the show?
No, just one of the things I got to follow up on. You always want to stay up on me on the shows. I want to tell this to the audience, though. There's another show that y'all should check out. It's called The Alto Kings.
What's that about?
It's a great show. Like I said, we got it right here. It's called The Alto Knights. I'm sorry, not Kings. The Alto Knights. Robert De Niro plays in this show. It's a great TV show.
What platform is on? Let them know what platform. Let them know what platform is
on. I'm on Fire Stick time, so I'm never on the platform.
Oh man, you got to tell them the platform. Everybody don't got the joint.
I'm on Fire Stick time. I apologize, yo. But listen, it's called The Alto Knights. That's ALTO Knights. So I want y'all to pay attention and watch both shows. Give me your thoughts and feedbacks. I'm going to do the same. So if y'all have any questions, leave them in the comments so I could kind of have some response for y'all. Because again, now these are 2 shows that I'm from my cohorts to a good friend of mine. They told me about these shows. I gotta now get caught up.
Yeah, bro. It's just like a thriller. Like it's like every scene is like always something happen that keeps you on your seat. And
Gotcha.
Sterling K. Brown, man, I'm saying it now. He's gonna win the Emmy off this show. He's
All right, I like the
killing
Emmy.
it, bro. He's killing it. He's killing that character. He's doing a stellar job with his performance. So I'm just, the new episode just came out today. As soon as we get off
Yeah,
this
we already on it. Like I
episode,
said.
I'm tapping in.
Hey,
I'm
listen,
tapping into the
we
new
got a good
episode.
week. We got a beautiful week here in Philly. You know what I'm saying? But despite
Yeah.
the little snow outside, we won the Super Bowl parade on Friday. Hey, listen, everybody, we gonna win another one. I ain't want y'all to get. I'm not even. Yeah, I'm not even complaining. I'm not even content with this one. This one was like, this was payback. But we got to get the next one. So now we can start going into those conversations with organizations that won 3 to 5. You know, Patriots is always going to set the bar. Don't get another mixed up. They got 6 or 7. However they got, Brady got 7, the Patriots got 6, whoever. So guess what? We got the best athlete, we got the best player in the game right now on our team. And we ain't holding back no punches. Like Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown, Connor,
Devontae Smith,
the names I'm forgetting. Everybody, coaches,
Nick Sirianni,
you know what I'm saying? Defensive coach, the GM, everybody, the owner, everybody, thank you. You know, just thank you again for bringing something that we not really used to, man.
And the city needed, man. The city definitely needed. Every time somebody won, especially the Eagles, it brings a certain commodity to the city that
it was a feeling like no other. I was outside on Broad Street after we won. Listen, man, and if you were Philly, you know Broad Street, whether you was at Broad and Shunk to you was at Broad and Lindley. Like, you know what I'm talking about.
You felt it. You felt the love. You felt the togetherness. That's what it's about.
So it's like I said, thank you to everybody. Like I said, and let's, I'm more on back-to-back time. I'm not, one is enough. Good, but we got it here. We got the players. We got the coaches. Whatever, we got to make the changes. We got, and most important, let me say this, we got the fans. We got the fans that's like no other. There's no better fans in the whole wide world than Philly. Yeah. So, yeah. Like,
diehard fans.
Yeah.
Well, you heard it. I
wanted to win back-to-back. That's it. It ain't too much.
Yeah.
We got the best of the best.
Yeah. Yeah, facts. Well, you heard it here first, man. It's another episode in the books of Off the Rip podcast. You here with me, Tony Chenault, and I'm here with my guy, Drew Thompson. Like I said, we're going to be doing these episodes weekly. Please comment on the episodes, any future topics, whether it's movies or sports teams that I want us to talk about. We all ears, man. And, any final words, Scrap, before we sign off?
Leave it like this.
Switch this on nobody like ever since it was quite young, a nigga been in the apartment. Like a scratch for every flat. He's a rap man, all this trapped up to be.
And just like that, we out of here, man.
Trouble, trapped there, you thought.